Hey, what's up, guys? Tuki here, back again, and welcome to the first episode of my Cincinnati Reds Draft to Glory series. At the end of my Toronto Blue Jays series, I mentioned that we needed to build a new machine, not so subtly hinting towards the big red machine. Although, granted, the Reds haven't exactly been a force to be reckoned with for quite a few years now, and that is what we plan on turning around. For those of you unfamiliar with the Draft to Glory concept that I run on pretty much every sports franchise game, we start from scratch. Fantasy draft, we take the worst players possible, and we only build through the draft. Now, of course, in the MLB, we have the normal draft, the entry draft, and we also have the Rule 5 draft. I'll tell you right up front, the Rule 5 draft, we get one pitcher and one position player. That's it. That's how we're going to handle the Rule 5 draft. We did a test run with the Mets on Twitch, and that was the ideal way to handle it. The only way that we end up with extra players is if we let somebody go and they're signed and we get the whole qualifying compensation. That's it. Otherwise, no trades, nothing, no major free agent signings. We only build through the draft. It is the complete opposite of what we did with the Blue Jays, where we took a team that was kind of in need of a rebuild and we end up staying the course and trying to go for it. And we found success, but that was mainly due to trading, whereas here, we're starting from the very bottom. There is no AI to take advantage of in terms of trading. It is all down to our scouting and our player development. So, for obvious reasons, GM contract will be realistic off. Fantasy draft will be on. Here is the thing. I'm also using the OSFM rosters. For those who are unfamiliar with that, it's basically kind of what I do with the NHL rosters, where it's more realistic, quote unquote. So I'm using the most recent roster update, the end of season updates, and DH will still be on. I think we have pretty much everything covered. So as much as I'd love to do this without having to necessarily have the fantasy draft, I'd love to keep the rosters the same. There is, of course, no expansion option in this game, so we are limited. That said, it is going to take me a while to make sure that we end up with all the worst players. It is going to take me a while to go through this because there's 70 some odd rounds, if not more. So I will see you in a few moments when our roster is set up and good to go. 88 rounds deep, 3 picks left. I'm intrigued to show you guys the team because you might be surprised by some of the veteran players that are on the team, but that is for good reason. That said, as we look to round out this roster, let's get a good old Charlin scope. Neat. That works for me. Some of the names you see in the game, by the way, names like Skybolt, the great players, the greats. I don't even know who else we need. I was looking at some of the other veterans as well. I guess we'll just take the worst players possible, which typically do end up being relievers. We'll take Sean Kaselika, and in the 90th round, we will get our final pick. I think 7th? No, not 7th. Okay, never mind. It's the opposite end of the snake. We get it 24th. It is going to be... Let's go for the lowest rated infielder that's not a first baseman. How long is that going to take? A while is the correct answer. Holy hell. Wyatt Matheson, congratulations. You are the final pick of the Cincinnati Reds. Let's go ahead and finish up this draft. We'll have everything on manual for the moment. I will sort that out soon. We will start in spring training. So I will explain to you what's going on with the roster. The reason why we took guys like Wainwright, CC Sabathia, Albert Pujols is because we needed to bump up the budget ever so slightly. Just the way it works, we were testing this out a little bit on the test run. You can go without taking some veterans, but it seems to kind of help the cash flow a bit by taking some veterans and having them fill out the roster a little bit, ever so slightly. It might come down in the future to me needing to make a little bit of a bank budget purchase to be able to afford some of our higher rated players. That said, this first season is pretty much going to be all about the scouting and the draft. That's what this first episode is going to be about. That is the highlight for us in every season, is the amateur draft and then the Rule 5 where we get 2 other selections. It's going to be that way for a long time, but we will get to see these players develop throughout their entire career. Of course, if you're familiar with Draft to Glory through what we've done, not only on NHL, but even if you're familiar with FIFA and the Youth Academy stuff, it's a similar story. Now, that said, with the current cash flow, man, that's expensive to fire these guys. We're just gonna wait, because it doesn't really matter, now does it? We'll leave all that the same. Although for scouts, that is the one thing that we can care about. So we do have an extra central scout here. Efficiency is lower, but he's better than Lenny Holland in every way. So Eric Leach will be hired. We also need a scout in the West. So let's take a look here for East scouts. And really it comes down to Guardado against Riley. And I'm going to give it to Guardado. We'll hire him on as well. Atkinson will go. Who's the best West scouts? Yikes, it's not looking that good. It's going to come down to one of these two, and we'll go for Reggie McConnell. Even though the position players is quite low, we'll fire Atkinson. And the best international scout, we at least have some competition for John McDonough. And I think the most well-rounded... 14 extra points in pitching are a big boost in position players. We'll sign James Hernandez as well. So that is the scouting department that will hopefully help us sort things out in the future. That said, with this lineup, I'm not against the AI just deciding who plays and where. So we'll go on full auto for the beginning of this series, really, the early stages of this series. We are surprisingly not ranked dead last in everything, but that is because of some of the veterans that we've picked up. So let's take a look here. Our rotation: Doug Fister, Adam Wainwright, Francisco Liriano, CC Sabathia, and Clayton Richard. The bullpen has way too many people, but okay. Sure, AIGM, you do you. And that is our lineup. Do we not have Pujols? I could have sworn we picked up Pujols. We must not have. Maybe I was thinking of Matt Holliday, Batista, Chase Utley. You can see some of the veterans. And that's the thing, too. These guys are going to retire sooner rather than later before we get anywhere close to being competitive again. Thank God we turned off coach firing, because we're not reaching the postseason anytime soon. So let's go ahead and get into scouting here. Of course, we need to start off with discovery. Now, this is the one downside that some people find to be extremely tedious and extremely boring. But I do have the method to my madness as far as simming 2 days ahead and then switching it up. So, like I said, I know some people find that to be a little bit ridiculous, as we'll just get rid of that. But it's the way I like to do it. It worked out quite well for us in the Blue Jays series, which if you didn't catch that Blue Jays series, again, unfortunately, we ended it. But that has resulted in us beginning this series. A pretty fun series. We didn't have any rules or limitations on that series, which, you know, led to mixed success, as we'll call it. We might be able to call it a little bit more, but, you know, we're not going to dish out the spoilers. We're not going to dish out the spoilers. I am really attached to that Blue Jays series still, just because some of the prospects we ended up with towards the end that I wanted to see develop, of course, we just don't have the time to unless we were to continue that and get, 15 years into the series, and that wasn't going to happen. But it makes sense to lead into a series like this, where you want to talk about attachment to the players and wanting to see the players develop. That is what this series is. Again, we see these players throughout their entire career. They are the foundation of our club from day one, from the moment they're drafted. And really, we can't choose what we get for them if they head out. We have to be smart with who we sign, who we let go of, when we let go of them, if we let them go for free. There's a lot of different factors into how everything pans out in a draft to glory. And like I said, we did a test run on Twitch with the Mets that actually went quite well, but we did have the moments where we let go of certain players and they very much came back to haunt us. So I'm intrigued to see if we end up with similar moments this time out. Do we already have all the catchers scouted? We do. Let's go to infield. We'll go Let's go fielding and arm strength, I suppose. I do want to kind of scout out speed. Let's go fielding and arm strength there. And catcher will go power and contact. Beautiful. So we're a little bit ahead of schedule with that one scout. Again, not too concerned about injuries or really anything that happens with our roster in the early stages. It is all about finding the future, and hopefully, I mean, the better luck we have early on, the more successful we'll be, but there is hardly a guarantee. Let's go ahead and scout contact and speed there. And for infield, let's go fielding and arm strength. This will continue to find, again, hopefully the future starts this team. Funny enough, we still have a winning record, which I guess I'm not all that surprised seeing some of the players that we have on this team, but it is still quite funny that we have a winning record at this point. I doubt it lasts, though, as we're almost done with Discovery, the early stages. It is what it is. Got to do what you got to do to make sure you get the most amount of prospects available to you at a given time. So let's go power and contact. Power and contact. We'll move you to the outfield. Let's go arm strength and let's go fielding and arm strength. And for you, power and contact. Pretty sweet. 10-1 loss to St. Louis. Nice. Good stuff. I believe in you, team. Not really. Fielding and arm strength there. Let's go outfield, fielding. Yeah, we went outfield over there too. I thought I made a mistake. I did not. Easy to make a mistake when you have to rely on doing something like this. Let's go speed and arm strength. Let's go outfield, fielding and arm strength. Like I said, a little bit tedious in the early stages, but it is what it is. This has been a proven, tried and tested method for me throughout playing MLB The Show this year, so I'm relatively happy about how this could go. And then we'll go power and contact. Let's go speed and arm strength there. Not bad. We are 39 days out from our first draft. Let's go power and contact. Power and contact. And for you, sir, you are done. You haven't discovered everybody, but that's fine. Let's go power and contact there. You will take a look at... You know what? You're not... yeah, we'll take a look at John Coppola. That's fine. We'll start him on scouting players. The other three will join him now. So I'm not too concerned about matching up regions or whether or not they're actually good at looking at the players. Just for the sake of time and an already time-consuming process, we're just going to assign them to whoever makes sense. And again, at this point, we're not exactly looking for anybody in particular. We'll take a look at George Keogh and Josh Lear for sure as a potential high-end reliever. We have 35 days until our first draft, so the pressure is definitely on to deliver here scouting-wise. And the good thing is we have quite a few 80 overall guys. I'm a little bit worried about the 22-year-olds that are 4+ years away. We'll see what happens, though, in terms of who we have ready to scout, because the MLB ETA can change for those who are unaware. We'll take a look at Rodriguez and Mendoza. And now we are full steam ahead towards the draft. I'm going to be kind of upset if we get anywhere close to the playoffs, though. It could happen, theoretically, with the half-decent team, and really can even call them half-decent. I mean, I guess when Yonder Alonso's hitting 291 at a 73 overall, and David Wright's hitting 314, I suppose anything is possible with how weird sim engines can be within a franchise mode for sports games, as we actually don't have the full info on everybody, so let's go ahead and sim one more day. Surprised to see that set of results was a little bit behind Lincoln Compton. We kind of know how good Vincent is. Let's take a look at Theodore Song, Richie Sorvala, and Pablo Mascara. So a couple of solid closers in the, I was going to say in the rotation, but technically not. Who else do we have? Sean Sanchez could be half decent. We'll continue to take a look at Mascara, Coleman, and Guillermo Ramos. A lot of potential closers in this draft, which is promising. again, in these early stages where we're not having to scout for anybody specific, we can just take the best player available every single time, which is pretty nice. Just build up the roster as best we can, but this is pretty much all the early stages are, at least at the beginning of every season. It's just bouncing back and forth. I wish there was a shortcut from the calendar to get to the scouting screen. Unfortunately, there is not, so it is a lot of bouncing back and forth, but I do find that 2 days is pretty much all you need to scout out an individual. So take a look at David Min, Ray Rosario, Will Medina, and Clifford Dunlap. It's also a target for us. We are only 18 days out from our first draft. We do have quite a few players scouted out. Let's take a look at Ray Milton, Jason Talley as a reliever, Ethan Odom, and Angel Cabrera. A couple of third base options. I will probably look for position-specific options. Although, there we go. Now you can kind of see. You can kind of get a better scope of how many players we do actually have scouted out at this point once it kind of auto-reorders itself. Garrett Cuba, and we'll take a look at Miguel Rosas as well. Gregor Blanco out for a few days. Lachlan Wells out for 1 to 2 weeks. That's unfortunate. Could not tell you what team he played for. I looked right over it. Phil Tremie. Let's go for the Tremie. Why not? Lionel Jones. Grant Stovall we'll also take a look at, and let's get a full report on Medina. So while not having the best scouts, we actually did fairly well in terms of the information that we have back. It's going to be pretty useful to us here. Let's take a look at Chris Johncow, hell of a name, Damian Brewster, Ernesto Barrios, and who else do we have that's worth taking a look at? Cesar Soriano. We are 12 days away from the draft. I'm excited to see how this first draft goes for us. Quite a bit of pressure, too, to start things off on a high note. We'll see whether or not that happens. You got Eddie Dorta as well. Let's go ahead and sim 8 days out. Let's see. Let's take a look at Jerry Ledford. William Hong will avoid. Thomas Grayson, Doug Hedrick, and Bobby Howtow. The Howtows. Sure, let's go with that. I'm probably butchering that, but you know what? As close as we're going to get. 6 days out from the draft. Let's get a full look at Howtow. Gomez we don't need to look at. Let's get a better look at Torres. Is there anybody else who's worth looking at that is not yet in green? Let's get a look at Aguilera and James Whitlock, who's going to be ready next year, apparently, at 18 years old. I doubt that holds up. Of course, like I mentioned, the ETA can change. Let's see. Which is why it's risky to look at other 22-year-olds and up. We normally avoid them. Let's take a look at Sherman Trujillo, Marshall Jensick. It's close as I'm going to get. We have Gustavo Gonzalez and Bobby Sneed. How many more 80 potentials do we have? Jesus! I mean, there's no way that's all correct, but this could be shaping up to be one hell of a starting draft. I'm intrigued to see how this goes. We are very, very low on time. Let's get a full look at... Actually, you know what? We can't even afford to look at the yellow bars at this point. We just need to continue scouting out any possible completely inaccurate reports, the red bar reports, to try and find these proven game changers. And let's take a look at Justin Ha out in right. I'm going to go 1 day at a time here. We're not going to get back the greatest amount of information, but I just need to find whatever I can about some of these guys. We got Buster Green. Anybody else? Gonzalez is there. Yellow bar at this point. Derek Gillis. And last option will be Derek Hackman, starting pitcher. We'll continue to go 1 day at a time. We have 1 more day. After we sim this last game, the draft is here. How well will we do is the question. Can we get this series started off on a high note? A series where truly every draft pick matters that much more. In terms of robbing the AI blind, we'll scout Barney Upchurch. In terms of robbing the AI blind on trades, throwing money towards big-name free agents, that's easy. But making sure you deliver with every draft pick, not so much. We get the 5th pick of this first-year draft. Let's see what we can do. Let's see who we can find. So we're going to focus on the green bars more than anything. Lawrence Nomo at catcher, the 20-year-old, pretty well-rounded. Actually, really well-rounded. High blocking, decent arm accuracy, good strength. Nomo's pretty solid. Can also play third and short. He's actually not that bad. Felipe Ordonez, a little bit weaker defensively, so not so much. Nomo right now is still the favorite. Steven Ryder, great contact, solid power, can play everywhere except for third base and catcher. Holy shit. Low injury risk as well. I think just for how versatile he is, he almost has to be the pick. He is now the current favorite over Nomo. I think that goes without saying, just for his versatility. Oscar Velasquez is 21, 4+ years away. Really good contact and plate vision. Very solid speed and stealing as well. Velasquez is looking pretty damn good, but the fact that he's 21 and 4+ years away as opposed to Ryder, who's going to be ready in just 2, we got to go with Ryder still. Travis Vickers doesn't compare. A defensive first, speed first option as an outfielder. Ronald Williamson, the closer. Really good hits and Ks per 9, walks and home runs leave a little bit to be desired. The control's a bit too low as well. William Leroy, 20-year-old, 4+ years away. Nothing special. Pretty well-rounded, but nothing too special. Richard Ka will avoid. The Ka, he's Taiwanese, so would it be Ka? I don't know. I'm sorry. Adrian Franco. Also not going to happen. Pretty well-rounded, but nothing too special. Like, the only way we're not taking Ryder is if there's this just phenomenal option. And unfortunately, Roberto Feliciano isn't quite that, from what I can see. What about Charles Palmer, who has a picture? What? What the hell? That's a hell of a glitch, I guess. That is so strange. Alright, well even then, good contact, but not good enough to take. What about Will Medina? Really good contact, plate vision, discipline okay, but I think we have to take Ryder, just for the versatility. Cesar Soriano, hits per 9, yeah, he's more of a project starter, that's not going to happen. Bobby Hatau, also not going to happen, not a high enough ceiling. Bobby Mascara, also not that good. Steven Ryder, still my favorite. Marlon Poo, not quite. I'm thinking Steven Ryder's the guy here. Jason Talley, not bad, but we don't want to take a reliever with this first pick. Joe Coleman, like if we're taking a reliever, I need the next Trevor Hoffman. Phil Tremie, not going to happen, more than likely. Yeah, no, what about Juan Torres? Now, for those who don't know, again, what we're looking for is not only the grade on the left, which is their current against projected, we're looking for higher projected. We want that higher ceiling with these guys. Pablo Montero, 3-pitch closer. He's okay. Chris Ajancao out of Venezuela, not going to happen. Will Vincent, so see case in point with Will Vincent. Quite a few 80s on the board. Will Vincent is a very good option at closer, and he's going to be ready very soon. He's the one right now that can rival Ryder as far as who we take here. Ray Milton, decent contact, power's looking okay, but definitely fielding first. So I'm excited to see if there's anybody better than Vincent or Ryder. Sean Sanchez, decent contact, vision, discipline, definitely a defense first player, which isn't that bad, but hopefully that's someone we'd look to get in the second round. David Min, really good contact. Well-rounded from there on, but not first round pick worthy. Jerry Ledford, not going to happen either. Alexi Rodriguez at catcher, still not there. We ended up getting quite a bit of information on quite a few players. Trent Pinto, not bad, very well-rounded, but not worthy of the first pick. Rafael Osuna, same thing, defense first, not bad. Not the fastest, though. Miguel Rosas, not going to happen. High injury risk as well. Angel Cabrera, again, well-rounded. Nothing too bad. We're going to get some good players in this draft. We have Clifford Dunlap. Again, defense first. High injury risk, though. Chet Britt, not going to happen. Domingo Ramirez, not going to happen. Tom Covey, good contact. That's about it. And the last green is Bruce Boyle. quite a few 80s. How does Boyle compare to Vincent? How does Boyle compare to Vincent? Vincent's a year younger and with a lower ETA. So let's see, he has a 65, a 70, and a 65. Yeah, Vincent's a little bit better. So it comes down to getting an all-star closer in Will Vincent, or we go for the very well-rounded Steven Ryder. And to me, there's no choice. We got to go for Steven Ryder. There's a chance to get a decent closer later on. Ryder is so well-rounded. We're taking him. Steven Ryder is the first pick in this series as we look to rebuild the Big Red Machine. Now, we do have an extra pick here between the first and second round, the competitive balance round, and that could be quite helpful. Will Vincent still on the board. Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. So we end up getting both. Steven Ryder and Will Vincent. That is a hell of a way to start. Who else do we have here? There's still going to be quite a few greens as well. God, now it's just a matter of who stuck out. And of course, there are some yellow bars as well, where the information's not going to be completely accurate, but it could still be worth taking a look at these guys. So you had Will Medina. Pretty well-rounded. You know, in fairness, we should probably look for a starting pitcher. Is there a starting pitcher who's just blow away like, yes, this is the guy? We'll take a look at the top 5 here. So Marshall Jensick. Let's take a look. Ooh, 50, 40, another 50. No. Plus he's 22 and 4+ years away. Andres Aguilera. Couple of 50s in there. Not bad, though, outside of the hits and Ks per 9. It's not terrible. Gustavo Gonzalez. Looking pretty good. 2 60s, but otherwise looking solid. He's going to be ready next year. Sherman Trujillo? Absolutely not. And then Paul Armstrong. I think if we go for a starting pitcher, Gustavo Gonzalez is the guy to go for. Based on the information we're seeing there, which again is not 100% set in stone, we honestly could look to take another reliever. Granted, I mean, 2 closers is what it is, but that would bolster up the bullpen. At catcher, we had Alexi Rodriguez. Contact, power, he's okay at the plate. He's not great. The blocking isn't great. The arm strength and accuracy, fielding's okay. He's solid. Like, if we could get him in the 3rd round, that would be great. He's definitely, from what I'm seeing here, the better option. A little bit more power out of Pinto. Pinto's a bit better at the plate. Pinto's not bad either. If we could get Rodriguez or Pinto later, that would be sweet, but I don't think either is must-take right now. Both are looking okay, though. At first, we have Tom Covey, the 18-year-old. Decent contact, decent vision and discipline. Nothing too special, though. Then there was also Domingo Ramirez, who at 21 is 4+ years away. And actually, let's take a look at Cedeno at catcher. And yeah, nothing too special. I also want to take a look at Marco Mendoza here. Unfortunately, not what we're looking for. And Russell Rivas, also not what we're looking for. So right now, Rodriguez or Pinto, potentially that starter, looks to be the way to go. Chet Britt, again, defense first option. Like, by far, defense first. The batting's just a little bit too weak for me. David Schaefer, hello. Good contact, good vision and discipline, decent fielding. It's not bad if the power was a little bit better. He's 4+ years away, though. And Leonardo Rodriguez, absolutely not. 3rd base, we have Ray Milton. Decent power. Vision and discipline's a bit low. Decent fielding. I don't think that's going to work for me, especially in the NL. That power could be solid, but the vision and discipline just drags it down too much. Cabrera. Well-rounded. I think I like the starting pitcher more. Juan Vargas. Not quite. Again, well-rounded, not bad, but nothing too crazy. And then Ethan Odom, same thing. So, nothing great. Decent option, but nothing great. Same with Jonkow. Same with Rosas. What about Damian Brewster? Nothing special at the plate. And Barrios, nothing special at the plate. High injury risk. We have a lot of outfield options. Take a look at Thomas Grayson. Not quite. What about Rosario? Decent contact, decent vision. See, he's an interesting one, where he starts off well with his ability at the plate, but then the fielding and arm accuracy, reaction speed as well, it's just a bit too low. Now, he is 19, and is going to need time to develop anyway, but that's fairly disappointing. You got Dunlap, Osuna. who is okay. Speed's a bit low, though. And Will Medina. So Medina has good contact, good discipline and vision somewhat. Fielding's alright. Arm strength and accuracy is low. Everything else is okay, though. Medina's not terrible. At center field, we got Doug Hedrick. Not average at the plate. Decent. He's not bad. He's not bad at all, actually. He's fairly well-rounded. Jerry Ledford is also looking okay. Ruben Murray. Hold on. Ruben Murray. Decent contact. Vision discipline's a bit low, but could be a tremendous power hitter. Not the best in the field. He's 21 and 4+ years away. I don't know if I trust that, though. I don't know if I trust that. And then Derek Gillis. The report's not tremendously accurate. Is a potentially great contact hitter. He's 21 and 4+ years away. Again, I don't know if I trust that. So, Hedrick, Medina looking okay. If we could get either one of those two, that would be great. If we could get either the two catchers, that would be great. So we have two outfielders that we're looking at, two catchers that we're looking at. And then to me, there was really only one starting pitching option who was great. So I'm going to go for Gustavo Gonzalez, and then hopefully we can get one of the two catchers or one of the two outfielders. But I'm going to take the risk with Gonzalez, so that way we have a starter, a closer, and just an all-around player to help fill out the roster. And we'll see who's still available here in the third round. Cedeno's there. Ibar, everyone's off the board that I was hoping for. That is incredibly unlucky. That is incredibly unlucky. Damn. Well, I don't know who we go for next, to be honest. We still have quite a few players in green. Bruce Boyle is still there. I know he has 360s, but damn. The fact that Bruce Boyle is still there is crazy to me. So there's Chris Johncow, who I wasn't that impressed with. I might take Boyle, just for the fact that he's somehow still there. There's a couple of those outfielders, though. Brewster wasn't that impressive. Grayson, not that impressive. Jones, not really. You had Mendoza at first. Not really feeling it. Ray Rosario. Rosario had the good contact. The fielding left a bit to be desired. Rosario could be the pick. I know it's listed as 65 potential, but again, it's not 100% accurate. We don't have the full reports. You had Vargas wasn't that good. Cedeno also wasn't great. Ethan Odom, Justin Ha. So I'd say at this point, the pick comes down to Rosario in the outfield or Bruce Boyle. And I'm going to go for Ray Rosario, just more out of necessity. And if Bruce Boyle is still available in the next round, he would have fallen way too far for us to not take him, and he is still there. So I didn't plan on taking two closers, but we will. I think Bruce Boyle is too good to pass up, so we'll take him as well. So we have a starting pitcher, two outfielders, and two closers. Not exactly how I expected this first draft to go. Hell, I didn't expect us to have that extra compensation pick, so it's funny how that works. Now, there are players here that we don't have scouted that might be listed somewhat high up there, the ETA as well, but that's a complete shot in the dark where we at least have some information on some of these other guys. With Pablo Montero, not really feeling he's not that bad, but not that great. Johncow, again, not great at the plate, not great at the field, not feeling it. Thomas Grayson, not that great at the plate, not that great in the field. He's fast, that's about it. Damian Brewster, not bad. Decent at the plate, not great, but good fielding, good reaction time. His arm needs work, decent speed and stealing. He's a little bit of a project, though. And we also have Ramos, which, I mean, Jesus, we can make our bullpen insane. The report's not accurate. Brewster's probably my favorite right now, or Ramos. Rivas is well-rounded. Yeah, I think it comes down to Brewster. I think it comes down to Brewster or Ramos. And I don't really know how much confidence I have in Damian Brewster. I gotta be honest, I gotta take the best available. And I think it's Guillermo Ramos. So I did not plan on taking three potential closers, and if it comes down to the point where in the future they're all pissed because, oh, well, I want to be the closer and we only have one closing spot, then we get rid of somebody at that point in time. Unfortunately, everyone else that we had info on is now off the board. So in just terms of looking at these 75 potential guys, which we can't trust, if we look at the ETA, we have Rufus Valencia, we have David Hackman, who is 20, or we go for a potential project in Stephen Bichette, which, again, we know nothing about these guys. You can't trust anything that's listed there. So because of that, we'll go for the infield option in Stephen Bichette, and we'll hope for the best on that as opposed to taking another starter. And that brings to a close our first draft here in Cincinnati. Let's take a look at how good these players are. Have we brought in any major difference makers, or have I completely swung and missed on our first draft? Oh, baby. Oh, baby. That's promising, but it's not a guarantee. We need to see what the overalls are. So Steven Ryder is solid. 21 years old, that A potential, again, if you're not familiar, anything over a 90 is an A, 80 to 89 is a B, so on and so forth. So Steven Ryder, A potential at 21 years old, switch hitter, by the way, 67 overall, which is a pretty damn good starting point. Solid contact, not really the best fielder, but that could be someone, even if he caps out around an 80, he's going to be very solid for us in the future. So Steven Ryder, without a doubt, will be signed to a rookie deal. Our first ever pick, he is being signed. Will Vincent is going to be insane. Just missed out on A potential, but a B potential, 68 overall at 19 years old, is also phenomenal. Again, the walks and the home runs, he's got some work to do, but that is a very strong pitcher for the future. Gustavo Gonzalez is a bit of a miss. He's going to be an interesting one. He's 22 years old with a high B potential, but he's only a 65. So whether or not he ever develops in a normal series or in a normal franchise run, you might not use him. He might be a little bit more usable for us. We'll see if he develops. Ray Rosario is only a C potential, but he's got a good foundation. He's 19 years old, a 66 overall. I mean, even if he's a pinch running situation guy for us, 74 contact, he's useful. He's useful. So I will take that. You have Bruce Boyle, who is also going to be a monster in the bullpen, 20 years old, a 69 overall, very nice, with that 86B potential, so I will take that. And then we have Guillermo Ramos, who is also solid for a C potential guy, 18 years old, 63 overall, not terrible, worth signing. And Stephen Bichette, unfortunately, will not be. But the fact that we are signing 6 out of our 7 draft picks is tremendous, especially, too, if you watch that Blue Jays draft and you know how poor things end up being. I mean, look at this even for the Cubs. They really don't have anybody. Marlon Paxton might develop, a 60 overall, 20 years old, and then Adam Cruz. If you want to consider a low to mid 70 overall player, the base for what you'd consider usable, is Adam Cruz ever going to make it? He's got 25 overall points to go before he even gets there. So you look at like what the Cubs did compared to how we did very, very well. Look at what the Brewers did. Just to make a quick comparison there, we had a phenomenal first draft, and Steven Ryder is going to lead the way for us in the future. So with that said, we're going to cut it short here for this one. Of course, just setting the stage. In the next episode, we will try to sim a calendar year. We'll go through the off-season, the Rule 5 draft, and we'll try to get right back to this point and get another entry draft done. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you're excited for this series. I'm glad to be continuing MLB The Show content on the channel. Happy to be bringing Draft to Glory officially over to the YouTube side of things, and I'm excited to see if we can, in fact, turn the Reds back into the big red machine that they once were. You know the deal. Support the video, support the channel, check out everything in the description, and until next time, have a good one. I'll catch you later.